Good morning, boys and girls. Another day of remote learning ahead of us. So today we're really going to be using the percent equation, which you see right here at the top of my screen. And it's equivalent to percent proportions. Just the difference here is you can see it at the top. It says the percent is going to be written as a decimal. So instead of having it placed over 100 in fraction proportion form, it's going to be a decimal. So let's go over these three problems. So the first one, find 40% of 75. So we're taking just 40% of 75. So that tells me I'm trying to solve for the part. So that's in pink at the top. So my part is going to be my x for right now equals my percent. I know I have 40%, but I got to remember I need to write it as a decimal. So when I am changing a percent to a decimal, I want to divide by 100 or move my decimal point 2 times to the left. So that gives me 0 and 4/10, right? I don't really need this 0 to the right of my 4. And I'm going to multiply that, right, because this x is multiplication, by the whole, or 75. The whole is usually after the word of. So by 75. Now I'm going to go back to green. Now I get out my calculator, right? And to solve for the part, I am just going to multiply 0 and 4/10 times 75. And I get x is equal to 30. So that means 30 is 40% of 75. This is my part. All right. Moving on to the next one. Changing my color to blue for this. All right. 15 is what percent of 300? So the part, that keyword is, so there's my part right there. There's 15 is. What percent? So I don't know the percent. So that's going to be my x times the whole is after my word of 300. So 15 is just part of 300. We're going to figure out what percent of it is it. Well, this is like the problems that I have had in the last couple of days, or just really yesterday. Right, this is the same x times 300. So to get x on its own, I need to do the inverse. I need to divide by 300. That cancels out. I have to do the same thing to this side. So I'm going to get x is equal to whatever 15 divided by 300 is. So I'm going to break out my calculator again. 15 divided by 300 gives me 0 and 5 hundredths. Okay, but is that a percent yet? No, it's my percent as a decimal. So I need to go ahead. Now I'm taking a decimal and turning it into a percent. So now I'm going to multiply by 100 or move it to the right 2 times. And that is going to give me 5%. And that's going to be my answer. And that makes sense because 15, right, is just a really small piece of 300. So 5% makes sense. All right. And last but not least, 24 is 80% of what number? Well, here we go. 24 is, here again, is, that's my part. My part is equal to my percent as a decimal. So 80%, right? 80%, I divide by 100, 2. I get 0 and 8/10 times what number? So after of is what we're trying to solve for. So the whole, x. All right. Now, inverse operations. I have 0 and 8/10 times x. So to get x on its own, I'm going to divide by 0 and 8/10. Right? And that's going to cancel it out. Have to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to grab out my calculator again. 24 divided by 0 and 8/10 gives me x is equal to 30. So my whole is 30. So 24 is 80% of 30. And that makes sense because 24 is pretty close to 30. It's not quite 100% of 30, but it's pretty close. So 80% makes sense. All right. And that's just a number. It's my whole. Over here was just my part. So they don't have percent symbols. Only when I'm changing that decimal percent into a percent do I add that symbol. All right, I think you guys are going to do just fine today, and good luck. Email me if you have any questions. You got this.